Om. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Hari Om everybody, and happy Thanksgiving weekend to all of you. It was funny because a couple of my Canadian friends asked me whether I celebrated Thanksgiving, and that got me thinking, because of course at home I don't do anything, but I thought, you guys, they celebrate this Thanksgiving weekend once in the year, but I thought every night and every morning I'm saying thank you, Lord, that through the night I slept well, and no event happened at night in the middle of the night and during the day. So Thanksgiving is not just one weekend. Thanksgiving, I think, is every day. So anyway, so let's come back to our topic. Last time we saw, I think we started with the metaphor, and I told you the yogi's mind is compared, verse 19, the yogi's mind is compared to the lamp, and when the lamp is placed in a windless place, then the flame doesn't flicker. So the idea is that the yogi's mind is like that flame which does not flicker. The winds are the winds of desire. In our case, the winds means the desires, and those desires are the ones that shake our mind. And so when those desires are not there, the winds are not there, then the yogi's mind becomes flickerless, like a flickerless flame. And the reason it is compared to the flame is because I told you the flame is actually not the same at every moment. It is actually changing every moment. So the mind also is flickering, but the yogi has now controlled it, kept it under control. That's why it is compared to the flame. We must not think that the flame is just the same. It is not. Same way the mind is not the same, but it is now being controlled by the yogi. And then when he does that, then what happens is, in the next verse, this atma word is used 3 times in 3 different cases. So first, in the second line, the first word is atmana. Atmana, it's the third case, and third case represents the object. Okay, just a bit of grammar, but it'll be easier to understand. Then the right following that word is atmanam. Atmanam is second case, which is, no, I'm sorry, the atmana is the third case, which is indicates by whom. By whom is the third case. So atmana is by the atma, and atmanam is the object. So by the atma, atmanam, and then there is atmani, which is the locative case, seventh case. So in atma, so what it is the self recognizes itself to be the self, which means that the triad which we normally see in our transactional world, which is what I am the subject, there is an object, and now there is an experience going on between the subject and the object. So if it is color and form, then the experience of seeing is going on. If it is sound, the experience of hearing is going on. So there is a me, and there is an object which could be color, form, sound, taste, touch, and then that experiencing of that particular sense is going on. So eyes are seeing the color, ears are hearing the sound, tongue is tasting the food. So there is this triad. But now what is happening is, by the Atma, by the self, in the self, by itself. So that triad is now merged. That is what this is. Okay. And once the triad is merged, it is Brahman. Because there is only Brahman. There is nothing else. From the highest standpoint, there is only Brahman, the pure consciousness. There is nothing else. And that's why he becomes Tushyati. He becomes very, very satisfied, very content, very happy. There was a WhatsApp message that was sent. It was an interview between Karan Johar and Dada Vaswani, the spiritual master, and he was having that fast question, whatever it's called, rapid fire or something. And he said, in one word, Dada, what is happiness to you? What is the meaning of happiness? Tell me in one word. He said, contentment. Contentment is happiness. No, happiness is not having more and more. Happiness is being content in what you already have. And if you're not content, you will never be even whole thing you get, no matter how much money, how much name, fame, glory you get, there will always be something more. So this Tushyati is that contentment. Tushyati, that word means contentment. Satisfied. See, Gurudev is satisfied. I feel satisfied when I have a full meal. I'm like, oh my God, I'm totally now full. I can't eat. That feeling of full, the only explanation I can give you is with food. That's why for a priest, it is always said you have to feed the priest who comes to do puja, because that is the only thing he will say, enough, I can't eat anymore. No matter if you give him money, clothes, fruit, no matter what you give him, it will not be enough. But what will make him content, what will satisfy him, where he will say, I don't want any more. That is what it is. Contentment is enough. So that's what. So this is what this is. Okay. By it. And then what happened? Then with that, he says, Atyantikam Sukham Prapti. So the extreme Atma Sukha is the greatest gain. I told you, there is Sukha of Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic kinds. This is beyond that. It is an happiness which is non-dependent, independent of everything. And it is the greatest gain. Atma Sukha, the happiness of the self, one's own self, is the greatest gain because of two reasons. One is, it leaves you content. There is nothing more that you need. That is number one. And then there is no loss ever to it. That is another. See, when we get things from the material world, there could be a loss. Money could get lost. Name could get lost. Fame could get lost. No matter what it is, you could lose it. But that is the thing with Atma Sukha. Once you recognize yourself to be that infinite bliss, you will never lose it. And I've given you previously the example of that hologram. They say, oh, do you see that giraffe in there? Do you see that giraffe? And people are looking, and they can never see it. But the one who just gets that giraffe, he never loses it. Try that. Once you get what that animal is or whatever is in that thing, you will never lose it. That is why this is the greatest gain. There is nothing more, and it can never be lost. Because if it can be lost, then what is the point? And that's why it is not the greatest. That's why anything in the material world cannot be the greatest, because it could get lost. And I told you last time also, no matter how big you become, there'll be somebody who's bigger than you. Then you want that. So that won't be there. Okay. And then the last one, he says, the having gained which, na dukhena gurunapi vichalyate. No, guru here means big. Guru, one meaning of guru is teacher, but guru also means big. So this, no matter how big the sorrow is, he will not shake, because it is for him like seeing a dream and knowing that it is a dream. So he sees the sorrow, it comes to him. It comes to him. I told you, sorrow or whatever that is coming out of destiny of the body. The realized master still has the body. The body is not, it's living. So that body's prarabdha will bring, we see Ramakrishna Paramahansa had cancer, and then Raman Maharshi had some surgery, Gurudev had heart problems. So the body's prarabdha will bring it. But he knows that it is the prarabdha of the body, and I am not the body. So what is it got to do with me? And if any other sorrow comes, may not be his own body, but maybe suffering to others, that also he knows. That also he knows that this is the body's prarabdha that this person has to go through. Sant Ramdas, I've told in one of my classes, but not everybody might not. Sant Samarth Ramdas is a great Maharashtrian saint. He was the guru of Shivaji. You must have heard Shivaji's name. So Samarth Ramdas in his Manache Shlok, he's written these 205 verses to the mind. Verses to the mind, they're called Manache Shlok. In that he says, when the sorrow comes, you should be happy. And when happiness comes, you should be sad. So what does that mean? So he says, when sorrow comes, remember that your papa is getting exhausted. Because sorrow is coming because of papa, happiness is coming because of punya. So when sorrow comes, papa is decreasing, and when happiness comes, punya is decreasing. Punya is decreasing. So he says, this is why you should say, oh, thank you, Lord. Okay, so much papa is now gone. I've exhausted it. Because prarabdha karma has to be exhausted. There is no way out of it. Okay, so prarabdha karma, that is the only way. The sanchita karma and agami karma, they will go by knowledge. We will see that those details in Dridrish Viveka. They will go by knowledge. But prarabdha karma can never go by knowledge. Knowledge is not powerful. Prarabdha karma is that powerful. Prarabdha, prakarshena arabdha, that destiny, which has now begun, very well begun at the time of the birth of the body, has to take its course, and once it exhausts, the body will drop. So you cannot do anything to it. Okay, this knowledge also, only thing is, when you get this knowledge, then you really come to abide in the fact that this is happening to my body and I'm not the body. That part is extremely difficult for people to understand, to get it. That's why this is difficult knowledge. Understanding the words is easy. Understanding and so that is not a question, but to think that it is me, that is the difficult part. That becomes paravidya. Anyway, next verse 23, this is where we were on. He gives the greatest, I told you, it's the greatest definition of yoga. Disassociation from association with sorrow is happiness, is sukha. So you disassociate yourself. Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam. Separate yourself from associating with sorrow. And what does it mean? Sorrow comes, miseries come, but I do not become miserable. Choice is not in the misery coming or not. You do not. Nobody has a choice there, because it is already predestined from our past lives. But in the present, do I want to be miserable or do I not want to be miserable? That is a choice in the present, and that definitely can be exercised. It can be exercised. The more you get established in this knowledge, the more you will be able to do this. This will be one of the manifestations of a spiritual seeker. Advanced. If you think you're very advanced, you can't shake. Even an advanced spiritual seeker will not shake as much as ordinary people will. Ordinary people will shake like nobody's business. Nobody's business. I've seen that. 2 years into depression, husband passed, 80 plus husband, close to 90. Woman is only 80 plus, 2 years in depression. This is my own personal experience. That sort of thing doesn't happen to one who has this spiritual knowledge. I've seen that also, because I have members in the mission are there who have gone through this, right? That also we see. They don't shake. They don't shake as much. That is what it is. So becoming miserable is your choice. Misery is not your choice. We try, what we do? We try to avoid the misery. So we are trying to do something which is impossible. Which is impossible. And then we are frustrated. So rather than try to do something which is absolutely impossible, leave it alone. What it is, leave it alone. Okay, chalo. Whatever is to come, let it come. Leave it alone and work on yourself through this knowledge. Make yourself stronger, mentally strong, physically, nothing. Physically, you go to the gym and you make it all. Vedanta is not making you strong physically, but mental strength. Okay, by understanding this knowledge and following the principles that have been given. So, sanishchayena yoktavya, very with a determined fashion. Be very determined. Refuse to be miserable. That doesn't mean you do not deal with the situation. So you will deal with the situation. Do whatever is required to be done. If you have to take medicine, surgery, this, whatever that is, you do. But keep the equipoise of your own mind. Yoga anirvinna cheta, the vigraha is there. So yoga this one that was I telling you. Chetas here is mind. Okay, chet is coming from chit. So chetasa is mind. Nirvinna has got two meanings. One is it can be vairagya or it can be boredom. Because the reason is a person who is dispassionate, usually realized masters, when things are going on in the world, they appear to be bored only. You know why? Because they're not interested only in what is going on. Political discussions are going on, weather discussions are going on. Worst is people are gossiping about other people. The realized master or even a very advanced spiritual seeker, and that's why that it starts making us uncomfortable. As you move up in your spiritual path, you will find that when you are surrounded by people who do not have a Vedantic background, you kind of feel uncomfortable because what they're talking, it's like, that's not right. That's not right. And then you can't say anything because you're one and they are many. So you can't say anything. So then what happens is then you kind of start withdrawing. So this Anirvana Chetasa means what? Means not you, we all, me too, have vairagya and boredom towards the worldly things. But do not be bored of meditation. Do not have dispassion towards meditation, because that is what is going to lead you to the highest. Okay, what we do is, it means this is what you will notice. You will notice yourself. That's why it is self-analysis. I've told you 100 times. Self-analysis. You will yourself notice that this doesn't interest me anymore. This doesn't interest me anymore. This, and then automatic withdrawal comes. And you're so happy within yourself. Why? Because the self is the most happy thing. So in yourself, within yourself alone, you're very happy. And then you don't need company also. Then you're like, and if company comes, okay, theek hai. Somebody calls, you go. This thing. But don't have that longing. When will this happen again? When will this happen again? Okay. So this is what this is. All right. Now next. 24 and 25 also, we read together. They're like one line again, just I said. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman tyaktva sarvan sheshatah manasaivendriya gramam viniyabhya samantatah shanai shanairuparamid buddhya dhriti grahitaya atma samstham mana krutva na kinchidapi chintayet. Abandoning without reserve all desires born of sankalpa and completely restraining the whole group of senses by the mind from all sides, little by little, let him attain quietude by the intellect, held in firmness, having made the mind established in the self, let him not think of anything. Okay, so the first word, sankalpa, is extremely important word. In Mahabharata, in the mouth of Yudhishthir, there's a dialogue. It goes, "O desire, I know your root, your cause, R-O-T, root, your cause, and your cause is sankalpa, and therefore from now on, I will not do any sankalpa at all. Now understand this word very correctly. Sankalpa also means determination. A sankalpa means a vow also, okay? So I take a vow, Mondays I will fast, or Saturday I will fast, or whatever, okay? Once a month I'll go to the, whatever, that also is sankalpa. See, sankalpa is there and vikalpa. There are these two words. We said the mind is the one that oscillates between sankalpa and vikalpa. In that, sankalpa is the positive thought. I should get up in the morning and go for a walk. Vikalpa is, it's raining today. Forget it. That's so vikalpa is a cancelling thought of sankalpa. That is one meaning of sankalpa, vikalpa. So, but this only sankalpa when you take and you break that word, samyak kalpana, that's how it breaks. That is how it breaks. Samyak, very well. Kalpana, imagination. So there, it is something which we have very well imagined. So we should see at one level, we should have sankalpa. Sankalpa means what? Good thought of doing a vow, a vrata. I will have a disciplined life. I will do this. Good things, good things, not bad. I will go for a walk every day. I will, you know what I mean. Okay, so that sankalpa, that don't mistake that. That is different. That sankalpa we should have. But when we break this word into samyak kalpana, imagination, don't have a fanciful imagination of what? That there is happiness in the world. That is a fanciful imagination. So it's not real. That thought itself is false. Forget that. But when we have this particular thought that my happiness is dependent on something, that is what is creating that desire. Okay, that's why the root of desire is sankalpa, samyak kalpana. Not that is that sankalpa is sankalpa, vikalpa, that is a different sankalpa. But this is what, see, that's why it says sankalpa prabhavan kaman. Prabhavan is to give it momentum. Prabhavan is to rise. The desire, kama, desire, is arising from sankalpa. Unless I have this imagination that my happiness lies there, I'm not going to go there. You get it? Sankalpa, that's why this word sankalpa is very important. So sankalpa prabhavan kaman, because there could be other desires which are not driven by sankalpa, which are what? When I decide to fast, now that is no, I'm going to be hungry. I'm not going to eat everything for the whole day. I'm going to go early morning for a walk. That is not, it is not an imagined happiness. Okay, so that's why he is saying, specifying, Bhagavan is specifying those desires that are born out of sankalpa, out of this fanciful imagination that your happiness is lying out there, tyaktva, having given up. So this yogi, we are talking of the meditator, the one who is doing dhyana, yogi, he has, having given up those tyaktva. Okay, this twa pratyay it is called, having given up. Sarvana asheshataha, sarvan, all, shesha is remaining, ashesha, nothing remaining. No desire is now remaining in his mind. Those desires, he will have desires to do loka sangraha. Please remember that. Okay, he will have desire for the good of the totality, but it is not a desire driven for his own happiness. Gurudev had, vision. It's not even called a desire anymore at that level. It's a vision. He had a vision of Chinmaya International Foundation, Chinmaya International Rest. All these were his ideas. Guruji only just fulfilled them. So those type of, so don't, if there is something good that you're, then say, no, I should not have that desire. It shouldn't be like that. It's not like that. So that's why sarvana asheshataha. So there is no more desire left in his mind. Manasa, indriya, gramam is village, but all the 5 indriyas, and also once the organs of perception are under control, the organs of action will automatically come under control. We had this yukta ahara vihara in one of the previous verses. I told you ahara is intake. So if the intake is not there, if the intake is not creating any desire in my mind, why will my hands go and act? Why will my legs go there? So that's why indriya includes both senses and action, but organs of action are secondary. Organs of perception, because perception happens first, then a desire arises in my mind, then my mind orders the organs of action to go there and do whatever. There's a flower I see, oh, that flower will look so nice in my house. Then the legs are going there and plucking, hands are plucking the flowers. Okay, so this thing, viniyamya samantataha, from all sides, restraining completely. Visheshena niyam, I told you, niyam is rule. So this rule has been made by the yogi upon himself only, that my senses are now not going to go here, they're helter-skelter. They are going to remain under the control of the mind. And why the mind has come under control is because the mind is not doing any kind of sankalpa anymore. The mind is not having this fancy, that is this thing, fanciful imagination. Another word is shobhanadhyas. Shobhan is good. Shobhan, good. Adhyas is superimposition. So what I do is I superimpose the idea of happiness on object, person, situation. It is a superimposition because there is no happiness there. So that Shobhanadhyas is sankalpa, related to sankalpa. So either I do Shobhanadhyas or I have this samyak, I have this fanciful imagination that this is where my happiness is. And that's why the mind runs. Otherwise, the mind will never run. Okay. So after doing that, then what should the yogi do? Shanai, shanai uparamet. Shanai, shanai, very important word. Slowly, slowly. That's why we have a book by Gurudev, Hasten Slowly. If you remember, there's a book or it's a chapter in Kindle Life. This is where it is coming from. Hasten, but be careful. Because if you suddenly hasten, and when your mind is not ready, when you try to do this, the mind is going to revolt. The mind is extremely powerful. Remember that. Remember that. It's not, that's why this mind is so important. Because that's why Bhagwan himself right here, he said, mind only is your friend, mind only is your enemy. It is that strong. It can pull you outside and it can pull you inside as well. That's where the thing is, bifurcation. Intellect is always inside. There's no problem with the intellect. Intellect is always telling us the right thing, but it is the mind which is weak. And a weak mind, an extroverted mind is your enemy. An introverted, a mind which is under the control of the intellect is your friend. Amrit Bin Upanishad says this. That's why mind itself becomes the cause of bondage. Mind itself is the cause for liberation. As long as it is your enemy, it is pulling you outside, it is a cause for bondage. When it becomes your friend, and it also says, intellect is saying, this is not good for you. And the mind is, yeah, true, true, true. I don't want to touch this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this thing. It becomes your friend and it becomes your means to liberation. That is the only instrument we have. There is, in liberation, in moksha, external, there is nothing external. Books are there. They will tell us. But to do is my job, na? To actually do that thing. And I've given you this example. The doctor can give you a prescription, and that somebody else can buy it also for you, or you can order online or whatever, but swallowing is my job. The doctor cannot do it for me. Nobody else can do it for me. My near and dear ones cannot be swallowing medication for me or eating food. I am hungry. I should only eat food. Somebody can cook for me. Somebody can order for me. But who is to eat it? Me. I'm hungry. So if I want liberation, then mind is this thing. Nobody else can. We ourselves cannot control our own mind. You think somebody else can control our mind? Unless we want it. See, we want it. We become weak, then we go after that. And then the mind goes. Okay. So Shane, slowly train it. This is what Guru Bhagwan is saying. Uparamed, withdraw. As see, I have seen sometimes, even when they are not in Vedanta or anything, as they mature, automatically some dispassion comes. Automatically, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever, from past life, maybe they have brought it. But many I see even now, even in their 80s, when the body is like really not this thing, but they still want to go for parties, they still want to enjoy, they still want to, I mean, it surprises me, because I'm thinking, if my body were to be like that too, I wouldn't be entertaining anybody, I wouldn't want to go anywhere. Handy dart with handy dart, like it doesn't come, vairagya doesn't come. So it's, if we are even little bit dispassionate, consider it's great punya. It requires a great deal of punya, good merits. Okay. So shanai shanai withdraw, and then buddhya dhriti grahitaya. Dhriti is perseverance, patience. So with patience, buddhi here means both mind, intellect. Hold it, hold it. Grahan is to hold. Grahan, the hands so grasp the mind, as though you can't do it physically, but as though. Atma saustham mana kruta. Mana and buddhi, they're both same here. So hold it in the atma, hold it in your own self. In your own self. And you see, that is what you start seeing, is when you start enjoying your own solitude, your own company. Gurudev has got a very famous line. He said, if you're getting bored by yourself, then you're bored with yourself. Please do not impose yourself on other people. Because you yourself are bored with yourself. Why are you imposing on other people? So this, because, but that sukha also falls under sattvic sukha. Huh? That falls under sattvic sukha. So even that has to be transcended later on. But that is pretty high, because people get lonely. That is why they're looking for company. So that loneliness should not be there. Aloneness should be enjoyed. Loneliness should not be felt at all. And that is where you are at sattvic sukha. You are at the highest now level, which you can achieve. That can be achieved by practice. It can be achieved. And after that, you have to wait. It is then to enter Shuddha Sattva, it is the grace. That is the difference between dhyana and samadhi. Up to dhyana is self-effort. That's where you come, and then you just wait there for grace to happen and take you further. So you come to the level of sattvic sukha, and you remain there, holding that mind in the self all the time. In the seat of meditation, this is what is to be done, but it can also be done throughout the day. Okay. Mana krutva na kinchid api chintaye. Chinta means worrying, but here it is not worrying. It is not in the, because chinta is something done by the mind. So thinking, do not think of anything else. That is what is the mind doing right now. Thinking of so many other things, getting disturbed because of those things. So keep that mind. These are instructions how to do. This does not have to be done. I mean, sorry, it should be done in the seat of meditation. But what I'm saying is, you can do it without, during the day, during your whole life. Like, doesn't have to be in the seat of meditation throughout the day. Watch yourself. Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling loneliness? Is like you get a sort of empty feeling in the stomach, in the pit of your stomach. And the reason I can say that is because I have felt it at some stage in my life, way back. But I don't feel it anymore. I've not felt it, but I have felt it once. So I know exactly what it feels like. So then either you need the radio, there's some sound. I know people, they walk in my own husband was like that, honestly. He'd walk in and TV on. And I said, what is this? You just came back from work, man, keep quiet. Just let's have some quietude. People, either the radio is on, and then they fool them. Oh, I only listen to bhajans. But what they don't understand is that's loneliness they're trying to fill with those bhajans. They're not listening to Bollywoods, but you may as well listen to Bollywood songs only then. So some noise they need, something they need. That is company. Noise, they're looking for company. So maybe TV is on, radio is on, Google Home is on, whatever is on, So this is this solitude. So, but do it slowly, because if your mind is not ready, then then it'll be difficult, very, very difficult. So all the instructions that have been given previously, Bhagwan is, all those, if we follow, then we'll come to this stage. Okay. What will help is giving less reality to the world. That'll help. See, why do I think happiness is in the world? Because the world is very, very real for me. It is really very beautiful. It is really very this. It is so that reality, once you start reducing to the world, it'll help. Okay. Any questions? I have a little note here. Past is history, because I know these notes are from the yajnas that Swamijis have explained. Future is a mystery. Past is history. Today is God's present to you. Stay in the present. Sankalpa is always in the future. Sankalpa can never be in the past. Sankalpa is a future imagination. I will get, will is a future tense. I will get this and then I will become happy. What is to be recognized is I am already happy now because I am myself that source of bliss. That is to be recognized. That I am happy. Okay. One thing that has helped me in my spiritual journey is I just ask, I see something and then I just ask, okay, am I going to die without this? Every time the answer comes no only. It has never come, yeah, Jaya, man, if you don't have that, you better go after it, right? And I'm like, okay, then if I'm not going to die, then okay, fine. Let's next time. It has really helped me, this thing. Just ask yourself. Somebody didn't call me. What happened to me? Nothing happened. I just felt a little bit, oh, she didn't call me, da, da, da. What? And as you progress, you don't want even calls, because then they talk about all. Anyway, okay, next. Yato yato nishcharati manaschanchalamasthiram tatastato niyamyattad atmanneva vasham nayet. From whatever cause, the restless and the unsteady mind wanders away from that, let him restrain it and bring it back to be under the control of the self alone. Chanchala, chanchala is fickle. Chanchala is fickle. The mind is, it is the nature of the mind. It is like a monkey. It has been described like a monkey. How is a monkey? Monkey never sits on one. It's constantly jumping from one branch to another. Same way, the mind also jumps from one to the other thought constantly. Anekagra, we have always used this word. It is running in different directions all the time. So either it is worrying or it is for whatever it is running here and there. So yato to wherever it runs, yato, wherever, from whatever cause. So to whatever is causing it to run here, maybe it is, I like something, then I don't like something also, I'm running away. So the running is going on only. Nishcharati, wherever it goes. Chara, the root is chara. Chara is to go, move. That's why they say cow charati, constantly she's grazing. So, so that is movement. So nishcharati, wherever it moves, it wanders away, it runs away. Manas chanchalam asthiram. See, mana is chanchala and asthira. Asthira is unsteady. Sthira is sthadhatu, to stay. So it needs to stay at one place, but the mind doesn't stay at one place. It is running in all different directions. From there, yato and tato, they wherever, from there. One of our Swamijis had said, what did he says? Okay, the mind, if it runs to beta, bring it back. It'll run to Charlie. It'll run to delta. It'll run to different places. You keep bringing it back. This is on the seat of meditation. Okay, this is on the seat of meditation. In the beginning stages, the mind will run. Keep practice, even though the mind runs, keep practicing meditation to create a vasana for the next birth. See, every time how is the vasana created? By habit. Habit creates vasana. We have all the vasanas that we have done those things over and over in the past, and that's why now a vasana is created. If I all daily need a cup of tea or coffee in the morning, I have done that in my past lives. Now that has become a vasana. Now I need that. Okay, so same way, if vasana is created by habit, I can develop certain habits today so that a vasana is created for the future. Now that I am into this Bhagavad Gita, into this path, let me create a vasana habit. Let me create a vasana by creating a habit of doing meditation every day. And when I say doing, because meditation, I told you, is not a verb, it's a noun. But right now, use it as a verb. Use it as a verb. So you say, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes every day. I'm going to sit at one place. And okay, even if the mind is, just try to bring, the mind will wander. Because in the initial stages, it is not possible suddenly to keep the mind in control. Okay, so the mind will wander. You keep bringing it back, and at least for that 5-10 minutes, take sannyas. Like I said, in class also, you take sannyas from everything else. That way, in the seat of meditation also, you take sannyas from everywhere else, and you keep that. And what you're doing now is you're creating a habit for yourself. So the mind itself will tell you, oh, it's time to meditate. Let's go sit and meditate. I will wander, but you sit. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because that habit is now becoming into a groove, into a vasana, which will then fructify in your next birth. And at that time, because you have practiced control of the mind in this life, next time, like I told you, if you have reached grade 5, you will start grade 6, and that portion will come right here after in a few verses. So you will start it. So what will happen is, right from childhood, you will have that tendency to meditate, sit quietly, bring the mind under control, all these things. Because remember, life is a continuum. It is not finished at death. Death is not a full stop. It is only a comma or a semicolon. So there is further things there. So knowing that, start developing these habits right now. We have developed bad habits. We develop bad habits very fast. So whatever this is now try developing good habits. That is the idea. This is what this is. So tato niyam control. And atmannet vasham nayet, lead it into atma. Vasham is to bring it under control. Bring the mind which is wandering here and there, bring it back, control it, and hold it in atma, hold it in yourself. Atma is yourself. So the thing is, how do I control the mind? And we've talked about this, but a quick revision. See, control should be exercised. Control, when we use the word control, it is like this, forcefully do it. The more force you use to the mind, that much it is going to run out. Okay, so force is not something that you can use on your own mind, on our own mind. So one thing is choice. Give it a choice. Okay, oh mind, this 5 minutes, let us sit here and meditate, and afterwards, you can run around here and there. Like you tell a little child, the child is just running here. You say, no, now we have to eat food. Then we go out. Okay, now you eat food. Same thing we have to do. Mind has to be treated like a child. So give it a choice. Okay, we will go for a movie, but right now, meditation. We will go right now. One thing. What will help in control is purification of the mind, which is a reduction of likes and dislikes. The highest purification is absence. But even at this stage, if we can reduce, everything, I hate this, I love this, that like and dislike, if it is toned down, because the mind is running towards objects that it likes and running away from things that it doesn't like. So if that is toned down, the running towards and the running away automatically will reduce. Automatic. That is another way. Okay. Then another thing is, stop unnecessary reaction. Reaction comes from the ego. When we react with the world, because we are living in this world, we have to interact with people. We have to, we cannot help it. We cannot help interacting with people. Those interactions, if they are watched over, so when there is an interaction where that 90% of the people, at least with me, the responses, it's not a response, it's a reaction coming out of ego. I give you an example which happened. So this friend of mine, We were just somewhere, and of course, it's my daughter's getting married now, so I just said, anyway, it's no expense to me because she's already well settled, and so immediately this friend said to me, my children also, they spent their own money. Okay, they did this thing. And then I knew, I caught myself. Caught myself means I knew if it was a reaction coming out of my ego, which I didn't react, would have been, yeah, but you never gave any reception for any one of us. You did not invite, whereas I have done that for my son, and I will do it for my daughter as well. But then that would have been a reaction out of ego. Because you see, you know how it goes? That's where you control and you stop. And I said, I just kept quiet. I said, that's it. Because ego compares. Ego will always, you did this. Oh, I did this too. You did that. Yeah. That is a tussle between ego versus ego. Now, it is our job to control. We don't worry about other people's ego. Worry about your own. I said, if I say this, it is going to be out of a reaction out of my ego. And I don't want to do that. Those kinds of things will help purify the mind. That is a sign of a purified mind. To that extent, not that I'm highly purified, but to that extent where I can catch myself, if I can catch myself when these interactions are going on in the world, then your mind is getting purified. It will become more and more calm. It will worry less. Okay. The other part of control is, which is shama, control of the mind, is not to get so shaken up. That's why navichalete had come. You do not lose the equipoise of your mind depending on what is happening outside. That equipoise should never be lost. And the other thing is, even if that equipoise is lost for a moment, you hear something sad, you hear something, suddenly you get disturbed. How fast are you bringing back your mind into that balanced state? That is what determines. A lot of people ask me, how do you know you're progressing spiritually? That is one of the things. One is this reduction of likes and dislikes. One is where it is not worrying too much. People worry about everything. One is, to see all the positive. That's why we have that mantra, Om Bhadram Pashyemat, right? Let me see what is auspicious in every situation. Let me see the glass which is only half full. Let me not look at the one that is half empty. These are all signs of spiritual progress. Of course, one sign is getting up without alarm. You should be able to auto instruct the mind that I have to get up at this time, and you must not need the alarm. That is also another one. So here, this equipoise is also one more thing. If you're not losing your equipoise in adverse situations, and if you do, how fast are you coming back? That also is there. Okay. So when we say control, what does it mean? The mind is doing what I want. Like, you tell a dog, sit, then the dog will sit. Don't, then the dog doesn't. That way the mind should be treated. And one thing which will very help is you must separate yourself from the mind. That is the biggest mistake that we do, is I think I'm the mind, so I can do whatever I want. So my mind wants this. That Dada Vasman is another question that comes to my mind, which is very, very relevant. He said, Dada, what does freedom mean to you? What is freedom? He asked Karan Johar. And Dada replied so beautifully. He said, freedom is not to do what you want to do. Freedom is to do what you should be doing. Duty. What is your duty at that moment? Immediately it should come. This is not my duty to get into this. This is my duty right now. I should not. Is that because one underlying thread of Bhagavad Gita is a duty-oriented life. Life should be duty-oriented. It should be driven by duty. What is my duty? Not what I like and I don't like. And most of the people are living, I like this, so I will do this. I don't like this, so I will not do that. Is it your duty to do it? Who cares whether you like it or not? That is one of the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Any questions? Clear? All right, next. Prashantamanasam yenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutamakalmasham. Supreme bliss verily comes to this yogi whose mind is quite peaceful, whose passion is quietened, who is free from sin, and has become Brahman. So, become Brahman, become is a verb, but become Brahman is not becoming, it is recognizing myself to be that supreme self. When the jiva itself recognizes itself, that's why we had that by the self, in the self, right? We had that. So that triad, that is what this becoming Brahman is. That triad is now no longer there. There is no triad of subject object. There is no subject object dichotomy. Right now we have the subject object dichotomy. It will always be there in the transactional world. There will be a me, there will be a something in the world, and there will be a transaction between me and that object. And that is the triad. It is called triputi or triad. The knower, the known, and the knowing. Okay, the experiencer, experiencing, and the experienced. This is how Gurudev used to, right? Experiencing, okay? Put bala, put strength on those words. So that triad, this becoming Brahman, that triad is now no longer there. All right. Now, what happens? Supreme bliss. So there is nothing else other than Brahman, and you are Brahman. Of course, there will be supreme bliss, because the description of Brahman, as given in the Upanishad, Satchit Ananda, bliss, a bliss which is beyond happiness and sorrow. Happiness is opposite of sorrow. So when there is no sorrow, we are happy, and when there is happiness, there is no sorrow. But this is bliss beyond both, which means whether there is happiness or whether there is sorrow, I am happy only. I am blissful. Okay. Prashanta. Prakarshena Shanta Manasam. Prakarshena Shanta. There is Shanti, there is Ashanti, and there is Prashanti. So this little pleasures or little joys or little happiness that we experience is Shanti. Peace is there. There are times in our life when we are peaceful, but then there are times when we are not very peaceful. So that should not happen. So Prashanta is going beyond Shanti and Ashanti, and it is no matter what is happening. And Prashanti, this thing is the one that is illumining Shanti as well as Ashanti. See, how do I know that I'm peaceful? I know it myself, I know, na? Other people can't tell me, but I know my mind is at peace. Or I myself know that my mind is not at peace. So that I myself is what I am. I am not the Shanti or the Ashanti. I am that which is illumining Shanti as well as Ashanti. That has to be reckoned. That is becoming Brahman. That is what is meant by becoming Brahman. Becoming is not a verb here. Okay. Yenam yoginam sukham uttamam. Uttama sukha. In 15 we saw there is this, 2, and then uttama purusha is there. This uttama again, uttama, the best. The best. And this was, I told you, what is the highest gain? What is the best gain which leaves nothing else to be desired for? That is the best, right? What is the best? Is it best of the best? What is that? Nothing else remains to be gained, and it will never get lost. Sukham uttamam. That is what Sukham uttamam is. This is the result of meditation. Vedantic meditation this is where it will lead you to. Okay. Upaiti Shanta Rajasam. Shanta Rajas is the Rajas, Sattva Rajas Tamas, the gunas. Rajas, this Rajas is what is making us agitated. It makes us active. It makes us act. It makes us react. It is an impurity. Rajas and Tamas are both impurities. So this Upaiti Shant, this Rajas has now become very Shanta, very quietened. The Rajas quietening means Sattva is increasing. Sattva has increased. And for this one, Brahma Bhuta Akalmasha means when he becomes, it means he has gone from Sattva into Shuddha Sattva. That's because of the grace of the Lord. I told you that the difference between Dhyana and Samadhi. That is grace. You have to wait. You do Dhyana and then you have to wait there patiently. That's why patience is required. Perseverance, because people think I've been doing for so many years, but nothing has happened. No, the grace has not come as yet. The grace has to come. And grace comes. You cannot ask for grace. Bhagwan, give me grace. Gurudev, he was addressing the students at Sandipani. I was there. This is a long time back. And the Acharya at that time said, Swamiji, can you bless the students? That is what he said. Can you bless? You tell them. He said, you cannot ask for blessings. He said, there is a tap or faucet over there. You want water. The tap is not going to come to you and give you water. You have to go and open that tap to get the water. So blessings, he says, blessings come with hard work. You get up, you do all the work, then the blessings will come. People have, bless me, bless me. I mean, I'll sit here and do nothing and you please bless me. Blessings don't come like that. Grace doesn't come like that. I'm praying, oh, keep me in the lotus feet of your... It's not going to work. You have to polish your mind. You have to purify your mind. You have to do meditation. You have to withdraw from the world. You have to quieten your rajas and tamas. You have to increase sattva. And when I say you, I'm included in that. Huh? Me or not, that I don't have. I also have to do all these things. And that is when the grace comes. That is when the grace comes. The mind is like a mirror. Remember, the mind right now is like a mirror. It reflects every, you go for a walk, when people smile at you, immediately you smile. If people look the other way, then you also are looking this way. That shows you that the mind is responding to whatever the person ahead of you is, in front of you is doing. It's like a mirror. This mirror has to be now polished. Polish it to such an extent that the mirror now becomes transparent. So that polishing is your job. It's your job. It's our work. It is our purushartha. It is our self-effort. Self-effort is extremely essential for grace. Now what happens is, with the self-effort, when I've polished this mirror to an extent where it has now become transparent, the grace, the divinity from within now is going to shine forth. That is what is grace is. Simple terms, you have to open the blinds to let the sunlight in. If you keep your blinds closed and then say, no, sun is not coming, sun grace is not in me, sun's grace, no, sun is out there waiting. But you need to open your blinds. And that is where the purushartha is. People always see there is another thing, because we say that, this liberation will come only by the grace of God, then I will wait for the grace to come. That's wrong. That's incorrect. The grace will never come like that. Om Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Kshobarahita Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay, Hari Om everybody. Have a great long weekend, and we'll see you on Friday, some of you.